guys, welcome back to the channel. Today's video, we're going to be talking about the de-dollarization, countries that are seeking alternatives to the US dollar. We're going to go over kind of a brief history of understanding exactly what it is and the global impact that we're going to be seeing if something like this or when something like this really does happen. So de-dollarization, it is the process of substituting the US dollar as the currency used for trading commodities and other goods and services. Now, as of today, guys, the US dollar is really one of the strongest currencies in the world, and it is used for global trade. So this happened back in 1920. 1920, at the end of the First World War, the United States is a significant recipient of wartime gold inflow. So that is gold, guys. We took it off of the pound sterling and went into the gold, and it was backed by gold. Now, that was the time that currency, you could actually swap your United States dollars for gold because we were on the gold standard. Fast forwarding to 1944, international trade is conducted using the US dollars under the Bretton Woods Agreement. That is right, guys. 24 years later, international trade is in US dollars. Moving to 1960, we started seeing global expansion. We started seeing European, Japanese exports becoming competitive around the US exports, making it difficult to stay to that dollar backed by gold. And in 1971, President Nixon ceased the gold standard, the gold dollar. You could no longer exchange, as of that time, your actual physical paper dollars for gold dollars, which meant the currency is now backed by the full faith of the United States government, whatever that may mean to you, but we are no longer on the gold standard. 1981, hyperinflation, the US dollar loses 2/3 of its purchasing power, which is incredible. 2007, 2008, global crisis. We've seen this when it happened with the housing market. Investors seek US dollars, expecting the currency to retain its value. Again, kind of being pegged. And this ties back to the digital currency that we were kind of talking about, the government that is coming up with and that is developing, which will be released through the FedNow system. 2014, following the annex of Crimea, Russia prioritizes de-dollarization in response to the Western sanctions. Now we're seeing that again in 2020 because of the war in the Ukraine. The sanctions against Russia are continuing to go on until kind of everything over there does settle down, or who knows exactly how long it is really going to be affected. Centralized banks are buying gold at the fastest pace since 1967 as countries diversify away from the US dollar. So that was last year, guys. Well, actually just a couple months ago, 2022. The war in the Ukraine results in Western sanctions against Russia. As a result, Russia and China deepen cooperation between their financial systems, with ruble yuan trading increased 80x. That is right, guys. If you know anything about the multiplication factor, 80x in 8 months is the trade that they were doing between Russia and China, looking at a way to really come off of the US dollar as a global currency. And again, it's going to impact us really big if you are in the United States. Other countries could also be impacted. Now, looking at 2023, Brazil and Argentina are discussing creating a common currency, again, between them that are not, it is not going to be based on the US dollar. India is doing the same, using the rupee to trade non-oil commodities. Russia and Iran are also working on a cryptocurrency that is backed by gold. However, this isn't something that is going to happen overnight, guys. Almost 60% of global exchange is still in US dollars. So a bulk of it is still in US dollars, followed by 20% from Europe. With the euro, overall, again, this is something that is not going to change anytime soon, but it is something to really pay attention to. So when the dollar gained a greater role in 1944, 44 countries signed the agreement saying the US dollar was going to be the international currency and that other things were going to be tied or pegged to the US dollar. Now, interesting enough, again, looking at our current state of everything and stable coins that are being kind of pegged to the US dollar. And now, of course, like we talked about with our digital currency, that is kind of pegged to the US dollar. If this changes for global trade, it is going to, again, fundamentally change the way the world does business, which could affect us here. Now, Russia and China step towards the de-dollarization. This is really the big thing that I wanted to focus on. Concerned about Americans' dominance over the global financial system and the country's ability to weaponize it. Now, again, that is kind of with a double-edged sword. That is pretty tough. When we have a currency that literally runs, global financial system, that's a lot of power in one place. Other nations have been testing alternatives to reduce the dollar's hegemony. Not even 100% sure what that means. As the United States and other Western nations impose economic sanctions against Russia for invading the Ukraine, Moscow and the Chinese government have been teaming up again to really lower the resilience of that. In addition, central banks have bought gold at the fastest pace, like we were talking about. So what other countries are kind of doing the same? Singapore, again, has kind of done it. Southern Asia has kind of done it. There's also been a group of nations that are kind of getting together, again, to create a new global currency. But there's a lot of caveats that can come with this, guys, because essentially it will make the currency that they choose, or if they stay on the US dollar, a much stronger trade partner. So essentially, these countries need US dollars. So as we continue to sell bonds, as we continue to sell a lot of other things, it is really hinging on the other countries trading in US dollars and needing US dollars to do those trades, including trading with us. And again, this is where I believe a lot of countries in kind of looking at a global currency, and that's where a lot of people in the crypto space have even been looking at a global currency, where even if you do possess a different kind of cryptocurrency, it can be turned into what you need. So if you have Bitcoin in your trading in Ethereum or need Ethereum, you can swap it between there, which again is going to be interesting to see exactly how this plays out. And what becomes of it. It might just be, a couple of countries that are trading amongst themselves. And when it comes to the global dominance, the US might still retain it, but we don't know how long. We don't know if there's going to be something in the future that is going to be a global currency that now we are required to have as a global currency. And what is that going to look currency-wise when it's pegged to our US dollar, or if it's pegged to the euro, whatever it is pegged to, is again going to make a big difference. And I love reading articles like this. This was actually at visualcapitalist.com. It's really interesting to see, and something that I love to read of where we've been, what we've come through, and what could possibly happen when it comes to the future, and also the ability to trade with other countries. All right, guys, so that'll do it for today's video. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. And as always, thank you guys for watching.